people? I don't think you guys know where I'm at. I'm lost. Been driving around trying to find this shop. Just kidding. I found the shop. It's right behind me. I don't know if you guys see that sign, but I'm here at TopShelf Performance Subaru Specialist shop, performance shop. I'm actually gonna be going inside. Turn off the fan here. I'm actually gonna go inside and talk to, I think, Cody and Mike. I think those are the guys' name. About rebuilding my engine and retuning the car and seeing how much power I'm gonna push. But just for a sneak peek for you guys, I am just looking at all options. I haven't finalized and decided. Yeah, haven't made my final decision on what stage block I'm going with. I just been looking at the minimum cost, like just what an OEM for refurbished block would cost. Just a refurbished rebuild on the heads and the block. So I know that for the previous video I said I was just gonna enjoy the car. The car still runs. It still has its issues with the misfires here and there. Other than that, like I said, I just take it out, you know, just for like 10-15 minutes on the road, and I drive right back home. So I only do it for like, you know, I've been doing it for like once a week now. So other than that, the car's just been sitting in the garage. But I'm actually gonna get a hold of one of these guys that run the shop, because I don't know where I'm supposed to park. So we're gonna go ahead and like I said, I'll do a video. Hopefully they let me like tour around the shop and let me do a video on this. So it's actually pretty cool, because I never thought I would be coming to TopShelf Performance to actually check them out. So, but it's cool that they are here in Portage, Wisconsin. So they're only about 2 hours away from me. I'm like close to Green Bay, but other than that, I mean, it's actually pretty cool just to drive out of town and just check this place out. So we'll check this out, and I'll give you guys my feedback. And I actually want you guys to hear from them, because I want to record them talking too about, you know, what I plan on doing with basic rebuild to a full stage 3 kit. So we'll see what's up with that. Stay tuned. All right. So they just got done paving their parking lot here. Oh, I see a Subaru right there. They told me to come over here. Damn, this is nice. What's going on, man? Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Good.
Wow, you guys remodeled everything, huh?
Yeah, sorry for the construction.
That's all right.
It's still happening.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we're trying anyway. We're definitely not constructing Green Bay.
Yeah.
There's just a disaster of construction everywhere.
I know, and they're trying to do this crossover, this bridge over here. It's just a hassle.
For sure.
So it's cool. Yeah, I just want to record so that I can actually just remember what we talked about, because I want to go through a lot of options.
It's not a big
deal. That's pretty cool, man.
That's fine. It is what it is.
So I know we talked about the basic was it
OEM short block.
Yeah, OEM short block. And then you mentioned something about the timing, right? The timing.
Okay, so here's basically your three options. The cheapest alternative is a used engine. Okay. So that is generally what I recommend people that just want to get their car up and running and then turn around and sell it. Because obviously when you do an engine in one of these cars, you're never going to get that money back. Like that doesn't up the value of the vehicle or, you know, make it more of a something that people would purchase.
We're right,
like, even if you were to drop 20 grand on an engine with us, you can't go and sell the car for 20,000 more.
Yeah, I'm what you're saying. Yeah.
So, you know, it for people that don't want to keep the car and they just have intentions of turning around and selling it, that's what I recommend, because it's the cheapest. Normally it's around 6-7 grand. So it's about half the price of a new engine. And obviously that price dollar amount changes, because one used engine might be, you know, 3 grand, and one used engine might be 5 grand. So that price will vary depending on what's available and what's not.
I see what you're saying.
But those are kind of the pros of that. The downside to all of that is it is a used engine. You have no idea what the maintenance history was on it.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
you have no idea if it was beat to hell. You have no idea what happened to that engine, what it went through, why it got pulled out of the car, things like that. As much as like most of the companies that we get used engines from have like a 30-day warranty to make sure that the engine's okay.
True. Yeah.
Still, longevity wise, it's not the smartest decision in my opinion.
Okay.
But again, there's a time and place for all of these. That's why we're talking about this right now. As for the OEM short block route, it's the middle of the range price wise.
Okay.
So it's what I would recommend if you never intend on modifying the car.
Well, that's my problem right now.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend for that, because you're getting bang for your buck, obviously, because all of the stuff is getting replaced. There's a ton of things that are brand new that are going into that. When we do an engine, whether it be a FA or an EJ, it isn't just a short block that we replace. We replace everything. Basically, anything that oil goes through, we replace. So that way there's no chance of debris from your old engine going into and you know circulating through the new short block. So cylinder heads are like the one exception, like we had talked about. Of what gets reused.
That's my main concern right now.
For sure. Yeah. Now, it isn't like we just take them off you know, your old engine and slap them on the new one. We inspect the entire thing. Generally, they do get resurfaced. We do go ahead and pull the valves out and put new valve seals in them. And then when we do pull the valves out, before we put the new valve seals in them, I do relap all the valves. So I basically refresh the heads. But
kind of like refurbished.
Kind of. Yeah. And, you know, so the one time that isn't going to be acceptable is, say we get them apart. If there was any sort of piston to cylinder head, touching. That obviously is going to make it not usable anymore. Or FA cylinder heads are kind of different from EJ. There's a lot more levels of them. EJs are basically just a cylinder head and then a valve cover. So that's basically what EJ is. In the FA, there's your cylinder head with your valves and stuff. Then there's basically like a rocker portion in the middle, and then there's the valve cover that goes on top of that.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's basically like a 3-part cylinder head compared to the 2 of the EJ.
Interesting.
But with all Subarus, there's no cam bearings or anything like that. The camshaft journals themselves are just bare aluminum. Obviously, they're polished and stuff. But if there is any sort of damage on those journals, really, there's no fixing that. So if they're scored beyond what we deem acceptable, they will need to be replaced. So that is the one exception. But again, if we do reuse them, which honestly 8-9 times out of 10, they're reusable. It's not a big deal.
I was really concerned because it keeps the roughness cylinder counts. Number 3 and 1, they would like skyrocket to 100 for like 5-6 times on a cold startup.
Sure, and you can feel it.
It's like a really rough start.
That's basically like that means it's only firing on 2 cylinders for the most part. So if and that's one bank. So I could see that.
Right, but when it's warm, there's no issue. But on cold start, it is such a hassle just to get that thing.
Have you done a leak down test?
I haven't done it. I've only done a compression test on it.
And the compression was okay?
Yeah.
The reason that we do a leak down test over a compression test is Subarus are notorious for their main issues, not necessarily FAs, but EJs, cracked ring lamps. And spun bearings. Those are pretty much the 2 most common things.
I gotcha.
So with all Subarus being horizontally opposed, obviously gravity is kind of against you there. So a compression test, there's so many variables that are just not consistent. So say like your battery starts to die while you're doing the compression test. It's not crank. When you did the compression test on cylinder 1 and the compression test on cylinder 4, the battery might have died, significantly in between those 2. So it's not turning it as fast, or if you don't count the amount of times that it actually went through the compression stroke. Things like that. There's just a lot of variables, A. And B, most of the things that fail on these cars cause oil to be put on top of the piston in the combustion chamber.
Oh, okay.
So when you have oil in the combustion chamber like that, it helps seal everything up.
Okay.
So even if you do have a damaged piston or something like that, and you do a compression test, obviously with a bunch of oil sitting in there, it's gonna seal up fine.
True.
But if you do a leak down, we have basically what we call too good to be true numbers.
Okay.
So if it is, like 1% leak down or something like that, 0% leak down, normally we'll stick a camera in there and make sure it's dry.
Yeah, I got a borescope, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
I went through cylinder 1 and 3, and it's like there's moisture, like kind of like water.
Okay.
But I'm not so sure if it's coolant. So.
And it could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it was just running, fuel can look like that.
That's
and
true.
Fuel will evaporate a little bit faster, than water or coolant or something like that. But there really shouldn't be anything in there. It should be bone dry.
Okay.
It might look a little damp.
Okay.
Because obviously there's going to be presence of, air that gets sucked in. You might have some oil in your intercooler or in your intake manifold or something like that. If that air does cling on to some oil and bring it in there, it might have like a shiny appearance to it where it looks moist or damp.
Okay.
But there should never actually be like residual fluid in there.
Okay.
There shouldn't be, like if you stick the camera and you see the bottom of it where the piston's here and the cylinder wall's here, there should never be fluid sitting on top.
Okay.
That generally means you have something bad. Depending on what it is, that could vary. But if there's anything there in general, it's generally bad.
Okay.
With the exception of fuel, that's a little bit different.
Okay. I mean, I was also concerned because the fact that I'm running full E85 on my tuning too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not E50?
I've been running full E85 since July last year.
Okay.
So.
Is that who tuned you?
Yeah, that body with Ron.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's interesting. Just because normally, all the FA tuners that I've seen, Junior, Ron, all the other ones, normally they only go to E50.
Yeah. So when they released the Nostrum high pressure fuel pump, then I went and bought that so he could retune it so I can run full E85 on it.
Okay. And I mean, generally, the biggest concern about, full E85 or higher was just the fact of the fuel pump itself being corrosive. E85 being corrosive can jam up those high pressure fuel pumps and cause issues. But injectors too.
I had to replace my injectors. That was the issue. Yeah.
So, I mean, that is what it is, though.
Yeah.
So you're not stock at all. You're
the block is stock, but everything.
I'm sorry, not engine wise. But modification wise.
Everything is. I got the SoCal V3 upgraded turbo.
Okay.
I mean, headers, Kobe headers. I haven't even installed
external wastegates or still internal?
No, just still internal. Running the Turbo Smart 14-pound internal wastegate, and then I did install the Killer V oil pickup. Well, I did that too.
Okay.
And I mean, Turbo XS front mount, IG Street OS, brand new clutch, drive shaft axles.
You've done different axles?
Not yet, but I do have them from the drive shaft shop. They did a full custom hub assembly thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't cheap.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we run on our drag car.
So.
Okay. And then obviously Cobb Flex Fuel.
Yeah, Cobb Flex Fuel.
Cobb Access Port.
Cobb Access Port. Everything full.
And you're sticking with the stock 6-speed?
Yeah, I'm still with the stock 6-speed. Okay. I am surprised how that thing's hold up.
Too.
Yeah.
I am too. But normally we do 6-speed swaps on like STI 6-speed swaps.
Okay.
Okay, so back into the whole engine.
Yeah.
Deal. Obviously, this is a car that you want to keep for a while.
Right.
Okay, so let's throw out the idea of a used engine.
Okay.
And again, don't make me try and sell you something you don't want. But in my opinion, if you want to keep this car for a while, it seems like you're pretty invested in it as it is.
Yeah, I've done a lot of money to it. Yeah.
It's something that you want to last for a good minute.
Right.
I also think that OEM short block isn't really the greatest idea for you.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. With the amount of power that was pushing. Yeah.
Right. Knowing what all the car is doing and what your intentions are with the car. Normally, OEM short blocks, we don't recommend throwing in there because you're just gonna have the same problems that generally a stock engine fails for one specific reason,
right?
Whatever it may be.
Okay.
If you throw another stock engine in there, that same failure point is going to be there.
That's true.
There's no bettering it.
Yeah, that's true.
Generally with FAs, the weak point is the rods, the connecting rods, because they're what I call pre-bent connecting rods.
Gotcha.
Normal EJ rods or even V8 rods and stuff like that. You have your crankshaft journal, and then you have your wrist pin, your piston, and the rod is straight up and down.
True.
FAs are bent.
Yeah.
So, you got your crankshaft here, and then they're bent this way with your wrist pin up here. So they're just a very weak point. 9 times out of 10, an FA that comes in here has had a catastrophic failure.
Okay.
Where there's a hole in the top of the block.
Okay.
Because a rod actually broke and
shot the piston up.
Not the piston. It'll shoot the connecting rod up through the center of the block. So that's generally what we see with FAs. But
that's
even at
crazy.
that point, even at that point, the whole reason we started the shop is because we wanted to make sure that people could enjoy their cars. You hear so many horror stories about people getting gouged by performance shops, taking advantage of people, things like that. Don't get me wrong, any business is out there to make money.
Right.
But our main goal is to make sure that people are out enjoying their cars. You see so many Subarus that get bought where it's like the previous owner is saying, oh, it just needs a tune.
Yeah.
It's fine, buy it. And then people buy it and it ends up having a blown motor.
That's true.
So kind of our goal with opening the shop 5 years ago was trying to make a place that somebody could go and get honest work done and an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a money hungry opinion. Spend 30 grand with us or something like that. But more so of what's in best interest for you in the car. What you want to do with the car,
right.
And then what we can do to the car to make it better for what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
So that's why we have our stage short blocks, to help kind of make them more reliable and get them to a point where you can go out and not worry about breaking a rod every time you take the car out and beat on it. You can go have fun with the boys on the weekend and drive spiritedly and not necessarily have to worry about it as much. Just because it's a built motor doesn't mean nothing's ever going to happen to it. But at the same time, there's a lot, lesser of a chance of something actually catastrophically happening to it. So that's why we have our stage short blocks. So that's kind of the route that I would recommend you going. We have 2 for FAs. We have a stage 2 and then a stage 3 plus.
Okay.
The stage 3 plus isn't one that I recommend unless you ever plan on exceeding the factory fuel system.
Okay.
So the stage 3 plus is a closed deck.
Okay.
Short block. And we don't use IAG we use IAG for all the case halves for our EJs, but we don't use them for the FAs.
Okay.
We've been working with Outfront ever since they came out.
Okay, Outfront Motorsports? Okay.
Ever since and we still build them in-house and spec them to our specific specs.
Okay.
But we use those 2 companies for case halves and stuff. So in the car that held the world record for FA horsepower, it's long gone now, but I think it was 2-3 years ago. That was running our stage 3 plus.
Okay.
But again, if you never plan on doing, like a Motec and
port injection
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think the stage 3 plus is a little overkill.
Okay.
Because with our stage 2, you can easily, max out the stock fuel system.
Okay.
And it'll be all good.
Okay.
So, and max out, is a relative term. I wouldn't recommend doing that, obviously, but you can you can utilize all of that
Okay.
and be okay.
I gotcha.
So,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
The Stage 2 uses stock case halves still.
Okay.
All of our short blocks, whether it be EJ or FA, everything's brand new.
Okay.
So there's no like, seasoned case halves.
I
or,
see.
Like when we had talked on Facebook, we don't rebuild any old engines.
Okay.
Things like that. And the reason that we don't do that is because there are, can you hold on one second?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
All of our short blocks, whether it be FA or EJ, everything's brand new.
Okay.
We don't rebuild old case halves.
Okay.
The reason that we do that is because we have built a pretty solid reputation for ourselves and our short blocks that go into these cars.
Okay.
And we like to keep it that way.
Okay.
There's so many uncertainties and things that can't be seen in a used set of case halves. Don't get me wrong, they work fine for, somebody looking to spend the, least amount of money possible
Okay.
and rebuild that just to throw the car back together to sell or something
I
like
see what you're
that.
saying. Okay.
But when you're trying to make, reliable power
Uh-huh.
as much as you can,
Yeah.
you really want everything to be perfect.
Right. You're right.
So there's a lot of, like I said, the uncertainties. We can't look into all the oil galleys and the coolant passages and things like that and see if there's micro cracks or anything like that in there. We
Okay.
can't see those kind of things.
Okay.
So we just took that variable out of it.
Okay.
And that's why they're more expensive, obviously,
Mhm.
but it's money well spent because everything's brand new. So that's the one reason, and then two reason is if you do rebuild a short block or something like that, like used, okay? So say you were to bring us your car and we rebuilt your old engine.
Okay.
Okay. We get it all apart, and all of a sudden, so now you're paying us to break down the engine.
Yep.
Which is something you don't, in just replacing the short block, you don't have to pay for because
Okay.
it is what it is. We
Right.
just take it out as an assembly.
Right.
You're going to pay us to break down the engine, which is going to be additional labor, okay? And then you're going to pay us to take everything apart and inspect it all,
Okay.
okay? Then you're going to pay for machining, things like that, to get rehoned, make sure everything's straight. And then during the machining, something happened and there's a fracture or something chipped or something like that. Plus all of the new parts you just bought, you're already at the price of a new short block.
Okay.
So it really, on the reliability side, it doesn't make sense to rebuild an old engine.
Okay.
Just because there's, as much as you're replacing some of the newer stuff, you're putting all that money into used stuff.
Okay.
So there's really no point in my opinion. And then on the cost side, like I said, you're dumping money into a used set of case halves.
Okay.
When for not that much more money.
Okay.
It's just a brand new assembly. And I say assembly, we do build them in-house here.
Okay.
But, it's similar to why IAG sells,
Okay.
they're built, short blocks and things like that.
Do you guys have one like on an engine stand?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have an FA one right now.
Okay. All right.
So, or not a new one anyway.
Okay.
It isn't something that we keep in stock.
Oh, okay.
FAs are a hit or miss, realistically.
Okay. All right. So not a big market yet.
Not a massive market.
Okay.
Honestly, what I've seen,
Yeah.
in all honesty, is that FAs are getting cheaper.
True.
2015 and up WRXs
Yeah.
are, I'm not going to say they're turning into the new Civic, but
Yeah.
a lot more people are buying them,
Yep.
and a lot younger of a generation
Yes.
can
Yes.
afford them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which therefore means that a lot of people don't want to stick money into them because they're not worth that much more.
Right.
So you have say you get you can buy a 15 FAWRX for 15 grand.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And that blows up. Well, a new engine is 13 grand, and that's for the OEM short block. So it's hard to justify.
Okay.
I mean, for the right crowd, obviously, you still get people that have 02, 03 bug-eye WRXs that, spend 12 grand on
Right.
an engine, not a problem.
Right.
But at the same time, with the newer cars, there is a market for it, but it's kind of, obviously the Subaru market is already a specific niche market.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's even more specific within the Subaru market.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
So it is a market, but it's not nearly as big as EJ's.
Okay.
Plus, most people that want Subaru and power, go EJ, not FA.
I guess.
So there is a specific group of people that like the FA platform.
That was something I wanted to ask. I was thinking about trading my WX for an STI, but I wasn't for sure running, the EJ platform.
You want my opinion on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I used to have an 05 and an 07 STI, but I blew the heads twice and I gave up on the EJ. Okay. So I went to the FA platform.
Okay. So the EJ, we all love it, but we all hate it at the same time. Right. First off, aside from the EJ, the STI is a better platform. Okay. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. It doesn't matter what chassis it is, whether it's GD, GR, or the VA chassis. Okay. It's a better platform to start with. You got a pretty bulletproof transmission.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Like our drag car literally is ran a 9.4 at 158
on the stock 60.
On the stock 2012 STI transmission. Okay. And it's making, I've never dynoed it, but it's probably over 1,000 horsepower. Okay. So it's a very, ruthless transmission that can kind of take whatever you throw at it. Don't get me wrong, they still break, but I've never broken that one. Okay. So you have that, which is worth it in my opinion all by itself. Okay. It's by far my favorite manual transmission I've ever driven in any make and model. And then you have upgraded axles. Not necessarily at the VA chassis, but in previous generations. Okay. It does have thicker axles on all of that. And then Brembos. You got a much better braking system.
Yeah, you're right.
And realistically, the modification, the aftermarket options with the EJ are significantly more. You got literally a whole rainbow of injectors to choose from. You can run basically 100% ethanol in it, no problem. I do think there's a lot more capabilities with the EJ platform than the FA platform. Okay. A lot of the FA platform is still honestly really, not explored yet.
True. That's the problem right now.
Right. They're just now coming out with camshafts and springs and retainers and stuff like that, where this is stuff that we throw in EJ. We've been throwing in EJs for, 5 years now. So it's just a much more...
I was looking at the new STIs, the 2018s and 19s, So
yes, I would recommend doing that if you want to make power. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I mean, here's what we see a lot. Okay. The FA isn't a bad engine. Okay. Obviously, just like I said earlier, it has its problems, just like an EJ does. But with that being said, it's not a bad engine. It can still make power all day long. Right. And between 400 and 500 horsepower, it can do that all day. Yes. And with a built engine, it can be reliable. Yeah. But if you want to go above that, there's a lot of people that come in here and they're like, all right, I want 400 or 500 horsepower. Let's do an engine build. And then we do an engine build for, if they say 400 horsepower, generally I'll build something for 500 and turn it down. But we do that and then give it a year. And then they're like, what's the next option? Like, let's turn it up. Well, with an FA platform, everybody gets bored.
Yeah, I'm with you,
with going fast. You get bit by that bug. Yeah. And, 500 horsepower might have felt like, a supercar to you at first. Yeah. But then after driving it around and beating on it for a while, it just doesn't feel the same. It's not as fast to you anymore. It changes your definition. Your butt dyno changes by how often you drive that. So a lot of people get bored with that, and then they want to go, well, with FAs, you're kind of limited at that. Like, the fuel system will literally only take you to 500 horsepower.
Yeah, so the tuner says too,
Depending on the dyno, Mustang dynos obviously read lower than, dyno jets. Dyno jets read higher. Generally, I give like 100 horsepower window. Okay. Depending on whatever dyno you go to. Okay. But
you guys have a dyno here, right?
We do not.
Oh, okay.
Not yet, anyway.
Okay, so how would you guys do the
We're working
tune?
on all of that. We do street tunes.
Oh, okay. So just take it out in the...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So realistically, there's nothing. Don't get me wrong, and Dyno is a great tool, and we are working on getting one.
Okay.
We just moved this year, and then as you can see, we're doing all of these, remodels. But
all right. There, guys, I'm done. I was actually here for about an hour and a half. Holy crap! I got 2 quotes, one for an OEM rebuild short block, and then also a stage 2 short block. There was a stage 3 build, but I don't plan on going over. I think they said the stock fuel system, but I'll talk more about it once I get in the car. But man, those guys are very knowledgeable, highly reputable Subaru specialist performance shop. So I highly recommend you guys actually go talk to these guys. But like I said, gonna upload the video today for you guys, so you guys can get a chance to see TopShelf performance. I didn't get a chance to see their they didn't finish their showroom, and they also didn't finish the shop inside because they just moved in. So that's why there's that pavement back there, and they're still working on the pavement tomorrow. But hopefully, like at the end of the year, I'll come back and actually check them out once they have it fully ready at the shop. And then yeah, and then I do plan on getting a dyno, so I'm actually excited to see the dyno too. So but other than that, let's talk about this. All right, so I'm back on the road. I'll just make it quick. Like I said, I'm probably gonna be leaning towards the stage 2 short block build. So the only concern is that nothing was priced out for new cylinder heads, and the reason why is because they're just gonna reuse and rebuild the heads. The only concern for that is that I seriously think that the heads, they're not blown, but I seriously think that there's probably a valve train issue because the cylinder 3 and 1 are throwing the same misfires simultaneously. So cost wise, I know you guys are probably wondering about cost. It's like 11 grand for an OEM short block rebuild with the heads, gaskets. There's other stuff that's like new timing chain, timing cover, pulleys, head studs, water pump, spark plugs, the sealant, engine gasket, all this other stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. And so be mindful that it's more than just a short block that's going in. Every component is brand new that's going to go into, along with the heads too, but with the timing and everything on the car. So that's the most important. And also what's included is the tune for the car. So what they do is they street tune the car. If you guys watch the whole video on this. So like I said, I spent a whole hour, to be honest, I spent a whole hour listening to Cody, I think it was Cody. I think it was Cody, yeah. So he explained a lot, from the FA platform to the EJ platform. And I be honest, my hand got tired recording. So obviously, I don't know if you guys want to hear a full hour of him talking, his spiel and his opinions on the FA platform. The FA platform is very expensive to get, especially for the engine build wise, right? And there isn't that much options for the fuel system for the FA platform, because who knows? We finally took them 5 years later to release the high pressure fuel pump from Nostrum. 4 years later, who knows? I mean, so and now Nostrum's finally releasing their fuel direct injectors, but then you need a Motec. And if you want to run port injection, you still want to run a Motec. Motec's like 7-8K. So it's just ridiculous. I just taking a stand back. I just gonna keep the car, get it built, spec. Probably 450, 500 horsepower range from what they're saying from stage 2, and that's fine for a daily driver. I don't want to push this car to the limits anymore because I'm just getting sick and tired of trying to fix the car in the garage, day in and day out for the past 2 weeks and trying to figure out misfires. Replacing spark plugs 3 times already, switching coil packs all over, taking the intake manifold off. I've taken the intake manifold off like 12 times already. So it's crazy, just trying to diagnose the issue on misfires, plus the retuning process from the summer with Corbin, you know. And so, like I said, it's just too much crap. It's just too much headaches. And I like the fact that, you know, TopShelf talked about the reliability of power when you build power, you know, not just having high performance all the time, and the next thing you know, you think that you're so invincible on high performance because it's a built motor, then you end up breaking something so small. So that's another thing. So I'm okay. Like I said, it's gonna be right around 14 grand for the stage 2 build. I think it was like 13.9, whatever it was, 13.8, but 14 grand all said and done for the stage 2 short block build with refurbished heads, new timing, everything, all the pulleys and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I just can't see myself. I don't know. I just can't see myself getting rid of the car. And also at the same time, if I get rid of the car and get something else, I probably end up spending more money than what I'm doing to the Subaru. And so I have been looking at a bunch of different cars. I'll be honest about that. But like I said, if I'm gonna dump more money into something else, I'll just keep what I have now. I mean, like I said, I'm already like 20K into the car already, you know, and that's minus the interior. So now with 14K, it's gonna be like 34K into the car, but probably like 40K on said and done. So yeah, it's a big financial learning lesson for those that love cars, you know what I'm saying? But I'm heading home, so I got an hour and 10 minutes back. So, but that's it for my day for you guys, and I'll keep you guys posted when I do take the car back to TopShelf for them to rebuild the motor. And so, other than that, I hope you guys are doing fine during the election times. I don't really care who's president, to be honest, because it doesn't make me successful. I'll be honest about that. If I want to be successful, I do my own work, you know. I hustle my own thing. So, other than that, guys, stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated for the next video. Stay safe, stay positive, guys. Peace.